Окей. А мы сидим с чашечкой.
Мгм.
Вот, по-моему, мы появляемся. Где нас можно посмотреть? Хотелось бы знать. Хорошо, смотрите, мы уже...
Написано, что
You're
live.
live, да. Return to... view on watch
А вот
page.
мы
Окей.
видим.
А мы сидим с чашечкой. Вот, по-моему, мы появляемся. Hello, everyone, and live from Vienna, Austria. It's Saturday morning. Сейчас надо выключить. Хорошо, смотрите, мы уже...
Написано, что
You're
live.
live, да. Return to... view on
Окей.
watch.
А вот
мы
мы
сидим с чашечкой. Вот, по-моему, мы появляемся. Hello, everyone, and live from Vienna, Austria. It's Saturday morning. Вот это мы выключили. Hello, everyone. Can you see us? Yes, I think they can. Everybody, it's lovely to see you. As you can see, our surprise guest today is Anna, and I really would like to stop seeing us in 15 seconds earlier than right now. You guys, please tell me that you can see us. Oh, Deanna is with us from Embarrass. The word embarrass is, I think, quite apropos of this beginning. Marcy is saying yes. All right, everybody. Hello.
Hello.
We have a lot of interesting things to talk about. Anna is here. She has been spending a lot of time with us at Coffee Headquarters this weekend, which is a long weekend in Austria. Did I let you say hi?
Hi, yes, I said hi. Hi.
So, we went to the cemetery yesterday because, as you know, or as you might not know, it is... One second. Where is our... Oh, there it is. The video we want to see, everybody, is not the one that has a 15-second delay, which will make us even less coherent than usual, right? We're always a little bit confused. So, as you know, Austria is quite the Roman Catholic country, and so a great feast of Latin Christianity like All Saints' Day, which has been something of a big deal since about the 8th, 9th centuries. It was Pope Gregory IV who officially made it a thing, but before him Gregory III had already begun this type of celebration. In any event, it's a big deal in Austria, and it's a 3-day celebration, beginning with the Eve of All Saints. So the Eve, known as Halloween, was Thursday night, in case you didn't know, coming from the words Hallows Eve, and from the Scots pronunciation of, or word for evening being even, and the contraction of even, meaning evening, for the Scots, is Ian. So Halloween, or Halloween, is from Hallows Eve. So Saints' Eve, the Eve of All Saints. Is this really a little bit too long to explain a very simple idea? So, yes, it is, sister. So Halloween is the Eve of All Saints' Day, which was yesterday, and today is All Souls. So yesterday was the celebration of All Saints, and then All Souls is all the deceased today. So in this part of the world anyway, there's the beautiful tradition also in Germany, and I witnessed this for many years in Bavaria, down in Munich, in the south of Germany. People go to the cemeteries, they place candles, they refresh the flowers and the arrangement of the grave. So the actual feast, initiated or officially promulgated in AD 835 by Pope Gregory IV, is, like I said, a big deal, and the whole business of dressing up for Halloween on the evening before All Saints, like I said yesterday, has a history that is connected to pagan culture in Ireland and other Celtic cultures. Think like the Isle of Man as well, other Celtic cultures. There were pagan roots in this, but the actual celebration of Halloween has Christian origins, like its name. And the idea connected also to the change in seasons, was connected to, yes, partly pagan ideas of when there's this transition, just like the human being is vulnerable in periods of transition. If you think about, puberty, or you think about old age also, of preparing to transition to the other life, the next life. These are times of vulnerability. I don't want to hear my messages coming in, right? Which I do now. What did I just do, Anya? Okay. It was the transition in seasons. Are you guys still with me? A transition in seasons in nature, in the created world, was considered a vulnerable or liminal sort of time when the boundaries between the other world and this world were thinned. The pagans already believed that. I'm not saying already believed that, but I'm saying that in Christianized Celtic cultures, there was still this belief. So people would develop ways in which they could protect themselves from the spirits of the other world, everybody, like the fairies and the various ancestors, be they good or evil, because in paganism, divinity is not all good. There is a dualism. There is a divinization both of good and evil. So the gods can be in a bad mood and do bad things to us. And the phenomena that we don't understand, or understood much less also in ancient times, of the natural world, like thunder, like the various stars and planets, like the sea, like the sun, the wind, all of these were divinized, everybody, and because of a fear that they could harm us, and a fear that is always present in the absence of true faith in the true God, that chases away fear, because the opposite of fear is, of course, faith. The opposite of faith is not doubt, right? It is fear, the merely human kind of self-centered fear outside of God. So the way one escapes delusion and the worship of false gods, which is the root of all bondage, right? The creation of false gods. The root of these things is fear, and it is fear that makes slaves of us. And the only slavery, as a Russian philosopher named Berdyaev said, the only servitude, if I could put it that way in English, that does not enslave a man is subjection to God. So I'm thematizing this now because I'm trying to explain some of the origins of Halloween and also of the 3-day celebration in Western Christianity that is called Allhallowtide. Allhallowtide would be, we find ourselves in the 3rd day of it today, on November 2nd. So I was talking about the Eve of All Saints, known today as Halloween. Then All Saints' Day, which was yesterday, and that's a national holiday in Austria, so everything's closed. It's a long weekend today. Anna and I went off to the cemetery yesterday because of my schedule. We could only make it in the evening, but it was, I didn't realize that it was, well, it is getting dark, earlier than I have sort of realized. So it was suddenly dark by the time we got there, but there were lots of people coming in. Lots of people visit the cemetery. It's beautiful. They bring candles. They put them on the graves. But the wind was howling.
Yeah, it's
like
cold.
But, it's not... In Christianity, in the era of the church, a cemetery, my friends, and also the whole topic of the deceased and dying, does not instill in us, by default anyway, if we choose to not embrace faith, this can be the case that it instills fear in us, a self-centered fear. But in any event, it wasn't scary, right? Even though it was sort of a classic setting of a
Mhm.
cemetery there was this crescent moon, actually, not a full
Yes,
moon,
yes.
maybe you need a full moon for the full
Um,
horror movie sort of setting. But we have a picture from there. There's our picture. It's not a very good picture, but it's still, you see a little bit the lanterns or the lamps
mhm.
on the graves. And, you know, this was at the Central Cemetery, so Beethoven and Strauss are buried there, and other luminaries of the cultural world, musical world. In any event, we did that yesterday. We wanted to not completely be outside the celebration
Sure,
of
yes.
the locals here. Of course, in the Byzantine liturgical calendar, when do we have All Saints? Well, it's a separate topic from commemorating the deceased, even though in the ancient church, the deceased and the saints were the same category. Why? Because we're not given to judge or to know what the fate of someone is eternally after they die, but we do know who are those baptized as members of the church. And as far as we're concerned, these are all sanctified people, hence saints, or hallowed, the hallowed. All right, so anyway, the connection between celebrations for and prayers for the deceased and celebrations for the saints, the origins are the same. So it's not uncommon that you would have closely connected 2 days that they still have in Western Christianity of the deceased and the dead. But I want to mention, before I also say that in the Russian Orthodox Church of the older calendar, today we also have a Memorial Saturday, a Saturday of commemorating. I'm going to remove this picture of the cemetery, ooh, spooky, at night, from Anna's and my trip to the cemetery last evening. We have the Dmitrievskaya Saturday, or Subota, today, the Saturday preceding the older calendar celebration of Saint Dimitrios, the great martyr of Thessaloniki. In the Russian Orthodox tradition, everybody, is always dedicated to the commemoration of the dead. Commemoration.
Commemoration.
Anya's like, can you say commemoration?
Commemoration.
No, commemoration.
Commemoration.
Very good. See, now I'm teasing Anya. She thinks that she's been saying it wrong all these years. Now she's learned to say commemoration. And we do have this Memorial Saturday, which other Orthodox traditions or churches within Orthodoxy, we also have different cultures. That's interesting, right? We have Memorial Saturdays spread out different Saturdays of the year, like the one preceding Pentecost, but also within the middle Saturdays of Great Lent, or Lent as it's properly called. There's only one Lent, by the way. We don't have a Christmas Lent, and a lot of people don't know this. You don't need to say Great Lent. I remember Metropolitan Callistos Ware pointing this out to me. You shouldn't say Great Lent. Anyway, all right, sister, get on with it. So we have Memorial Saturdays in the middle of Lent, 3 of them. Why are big memorial days in Byzantine tradition always on Saturdays, everybody? Because every Saturday is underlying, other commemoration of any given Saturday in a book called the Octoichos that governs the weekdays, the cycle of weekdays, very repetitive, every seven days. You have the same commemorations for every weekday, except that you have different services because there are 8 sets of these services because there are 8 tones. I'm not going to get into it right now. But every Saturday has All Saints and the reposed, the deceased, as a leitmotif in the service. Why? Because Saturday, first of all, Saturday is the great and holy Saturday when our Lord Jesus Christ rested in the tomb after he died on the cross on a Friday. A Friday, also known as Paraskevi, or Day of Preparation, It was the cross that prepared him for rest in the tomb. So the Lord chose to die on a paraskevi, or day of preparation, because because he was also demonstrating to us what it is that prepares us for eternal rest, and already here rest in him. He says, "Come to me, all you who are burdened and heavy laden, and I will grant you" what? Rest. Rest for your souls, right? So when he invites us to learn from him, because he is meek and humble in heart and so forth, we're being called through his meekness, through his humility, by way of the cross. That's the way of Christ, right? We're invited to find peace on a daily basis. Right, Anna? She's like, how did I agree to this again? Well, I'll tell you that Anna, show us what you brought over. She brought over certain pastries for sort of, I don't know, we're going to call these, you know why we're having this, besides the fact that one of us is a glutton? It's because she doesn't know who I mean, does she? I think everybody knows who it is that I mean. I'll just leave that hanging. We are commemorating the first anniversary of the death of my beloved mentor, Father Robert Taft, who died on this day, November the 2nd. That is All Souls Day of the deceased, so Taft knew when to die. He died as he lived, a liturgist. He did it according to the liturgical tradition of the Byzantine Rite, of which he was a great scholar. So we have Taft's photograph here. Please pray for the repose of the soul of Archimandrite Robert today, okay, because he did a lot of service to our tradition. Anybody who celebrates according to the Byzantine Rite, most people being the Orthodox churches, but also non-Orthodox churches who are of the Byzantine Rite, have learned a lot thanks to his very intense, really, according to the sources, scholarship and the gift that he gave to really to various churches through his knowledge. Some things, the church can't decide certain things as far as the hierarchy of the church goes if there aren't scholars who actually roll up their sleeves and study the scholars don't determine what to do about the information, but they have to somebody has to not just invent the information as their thoughts while shaving, which is what some people do when contemplating, say, the liturgical tradition, but somebody has to actually establish also the objective side of how things were done. It's not always explicable why they were changed, but things do change throughout the ages, throughout church history, and for there to be an educated decision, of course also inspired and led by the Holy Spirit, which goes without saying when we're talking about the whole big picture of the church's functioning, we still need reliable information as to the history of a subject. But as Taft always said, I am not a reformer, I am an informer. So it's his job to inform, and that's what he would teach his students, to inform. But as for what to do about the information, well, that's of course, a process of discernment led by and ultimately decided by the hierarchy. So anyway, Taft died at 4:05 in the morning last year. It feels to me, frankly, as if he died many years ago. I guess it's been a long year. But may God, grant him the kingdom of heaven, and may Taft also continue to be an inspiration, and by his prayers to be with us. Thank you, Father Taft, from your students who do not forget you. Memory eternal. Anya was asking about this today, right?
Yeah.
We were, before this,
yes.
wondering, what were we doing? We were sitting and eating as usual. And she was saying, how does it make sense to talk about memory eternal?
Yes, why do we sing this? Why do we say it?
wieczna pamięć? And it's a very good question, right? It's like we're wishing that the deceased be always remembered, but by whom? Memory eternal. Does everybody know this, that in the Byzantine tradition, this is sort of the main phrase you hear in connection with prayers for the deceased? What are people talking about here? So we were thinking about this whole business of memory eternal. So we prayerfully wish that people remember the dead, and I think that the living memory of the deceased, as far as other people go, is of course an expression of love and gratitude. That's sort of obvious. When we're forgetful of others, we're not possibly grateful to them. But we're also expressing, when we say to God, or remember Lord, Manistiti Kyrie, in the hope of the resurrection and so forth, how does it make sense to say to God, can God possibly forget? Well, I think that this is the language of love, of saying, don't forget me. When the penitent thief on the cross says, remember me, Lord, when you come into your kingdom, it's an expression of the thief loving the Lord. Don't forget me. Like if you have a loved one who's going away, or you've met someone and you would like to be remembered by them, it's because you care about them so much. It's like saying, I'm not worth, when we say to God, I'm unworthy of you. When we express unworthiness, well, that's a language of love as well that we understand if we have loved strongly another person or people. When we say, you're with your beloved, and you say, how, what have I done, good, and how do I say this? Well, I don't deserve you. The point isn't to say, hence, just leave me because I don't deserve you. The point is to express just how much you admire and love your beloved. That's what you're expressing. You feel your unworthiness just because you cherish this person so much. It's not a perfect analogy because I'm talking about merely human love, but with respect to God, we say things like this, like, please don't forget about me. Is there a song like this? It's an expression of love. Don't forget me, not because I think that he's forgetful. It's because I cherish so much his attention. All right? Does that make sense to people? I don't know. That's what I've got for you. I want to talk briefly today about our prayer pumpkin that has really caused me, I have to say, hours of carving, because you people have been so good to respond to this amazing, one of the many awards available throughout the years now on this award-winning show. So one of the awards, the most recent one, is to have your name, if you subscribe as one of the first three people after one of these Saturday morning live shows, the last 2 weeks, your name is then carved in. First three people to subscribe to these audio podcasts is carved into this pumpkin. Why are some of the names really big? Because I've discovered it's easier to carve them the bigger you make them. So, who was carved into the pumpkin, the prayer pumpkin, that we around here remember these people because it took some time to carve their holy names. A name is called holy in our tradition because of what's in a name. I'm not going to get into it right now. But who was carved into the pumpkin this week? So, Sarah, congratulations, because she subscribed to the audio podcasts soon after last week's Saturday morning live, or I think it was like 2 days afterwards, but I don't know when she watched it. So Sarah, congratulations. God bless you, Sarah. Everybody, don't be jealous of Sarah. You'll get your turn if you subscribe. Vassal, a man named Vassal, subscribed to the audio podcast as well. Congratulations to Vassal. And Deborah, where is Deborah? Oh my goodness, you could see it kept getting bigger and bigger because I found it was really difficult, the small names. So see, Deborah, congratulations to Deborah, but her name is really big here. Can everybody see it? But I think I'm getting better at the carving. I have to realize that the pumpkin eventually will probably have to be eaten, Anna says, putting it simply. All right, so we're going to eat the pumpkin. But for now, see, Celeste was the first. Sorry, Celeste, but I made a mess of... See, because I made it too small. But you could still say it says Celeste. I have to say, people aren't subscribing whose names are like Tim.
Yeah.
Just really short. If your name is Bartholomew, you know who you are. So, and I'm talking to certain patriarch. No, just kidding. I was going to make a joke that that's not an ideal name for this pumpkin. And we won't have room. Who did I miss? Well, there is a Robin, Sally. I talked about you guys last week, right? I'm calling the ladies guys, just to be politically incorrect. All right, anyway, thank you to those of you who have subscribed. There is room for 3 more names at least. So I'm saying it again. This week, whoever subscribes, the first 3 people to subscribe to these audio podcasts, this is how we are supported, everybody. The primary way in which you support our little online mission is by subscribing. It only costs $5. You can subscribe for more, as much as you want, but a $5 subscription gets you loads of materials every month. For a whole month, it's $5. And I'm not kidding. You're saying, no, sister, that's not possible. It's just not true. You're incredulous. No, it's true. Right, Anna?
Yeah.
Anna can attest that this is true. You're not dreaming. All right, so we're going to talk about what do we talk about every weekday on these podcasts, because they're 5 days a week. We talk about the saints of the day. We've already discussed with you today, everybody, or I've touched upon the fact that we have, but only in the Slavic churches under the influence of the Russian tradition, a Memorial Saturday today. It's called Dimitrievskaya Subota. But why is it the Saturday? It's a movable commemoration. Always the Saturday before older calendar St. Demetrius of Thessaloniki. This year, that's only going to be next Friday. So, you might say, why wouldn't it be maybe on a Saturday closer to that, like the following Saturday? No, wait, I think I might have messed that up. Let me see. St. Demetrius, is it next Friday or next Saturday? Oh, no, it is Friday. Do you see that?
Oh, yeah, it's Friday.
Anyway, because the rule is it has to be the preceding Saturday. That's the simple rule. But were St. Demetrius to fall upon a Saturday, that also couldn't be the day of the Memorial Saturday. Can't be on the same day, because a Memorial Saturday is not cannot coincide with a great feast. And the day of St. Demetrius is a great feast, so one would push out the other, push the Memorial Saturday to be the previous Saturday. Anyway, what happened was, why we have this Memorial Saturday next to St. Demetrius, it has to do with the history of Russia. There was this Grand Prince Dmitry Donskoy. Dmitry Donskoy was the Grand Prince under whom the Russian armies first defeated, not conclusively defeated, but defeated the Tatars, or the Mongols, under whom they were for a long time, and were after that for about a whole century.
Years almost.
Yes. So in 1380, this was September 8th, 1380, there was this great battle. Many died, and Dmitry Donskoy, after the battle, celebrated this big commemoration of all the fallen soldiers. By the way, Demetrius of Thessaloniki is considered, amongst other things, patron saint of soldiers, he himself having been in the military. So, but in this case, because he's the patron saint of Grand Prince Dmitry Donskoy, it was it so happened that the commemoration of this big panichida, or memorial service of the fallen soldiers of Dimitri Donskoy. Sorry if this isn't interesting for those of you not interested in, Russian history in this case. But in any event, we do have it in a very large Orthodox church, the Russian Orthodox Church, this Saturday. That was because of the name of Dmitry Donskoy and his patron saint, who happened to be the saint that had a celebration. Dmitry Donskoy at that time was not venerated as a saint, and so it was chosen to celebrate on a Saturday, true to Orthodox tradition and Byzantine tradition, that memorial commemorations are appropriate on Saturdays. I already explained why. All right? So there we have it. Let us commemorate our dead. I am particularly thinking about the fact that just a year ago, Father Taft died on this day. So memory eternal to all our deceased and loved ones whom we remember. Now I will tell you, my friends, the saints on the new calendar today. I can't talk about everybody and everything going on in the liturgical calendar because there's always lots of meaning to every day throughout the centuries, different meanings accumulated because we don't have a thin culture. It's not like a flat and purposeless, meaningless, colorless culture. Being part of something called church, and I don't mean some church that was organized, on a hilltop in upstate New York 2 years ago, but like a real tradition, like the tradition of the Byzantine, right? The new calendar saints of today are hard to remember as far as their names go. They are from, if you think modern day Iran, the Persian Empire, we're talking about the martyrs Akindinos, Pegasios, and others with them, Avthonios, Elpidephoros. The thing is, there were 7,000 Christians martyred with them, and this was in Persia, and it's in the middle of the 4th century, in the reign of the infamous, I have to say, or great as far as Iranian history goes, Sapor or Shapur II. Now this Shapur II, is everybody with me? I'm going to show you somewhere I prepared a picture, or of his bust anyway. Oh, he's a funny looking one, but it is a bust of him. Shapur II is, first of all, the longest reigning Iranian Shah, but he also, okay, I have to tell you when he reigned. He died in the year AD 379, but practically from the very beginning of his life, he was the Persian king, or the Shah. So from 309 to 379, 70 whole years, everybody, he ruled. And at first, even though he was himself something of a Zoroastrian, but with a mix of other pagan beliefs, he was the last of the Persian rulers to consider himself to be of divine lineage. This one considered himself to be the brother of the sun and the moon. No more and no less. I do not know if he was a stoutly man with a round figure, and this is what inspired him to think that, but probably not. He thought he was the brother of the sun and the moon, and at first he was not persecuting Christians. Is anybody listening to this? I'm going to look what they're talking about. So, my friends, he didn't persecute Christians at first, but what happened, he was deeply irritated by the conversion of a neighboring ruler to Christianity, and that neighboring ruler was Constantine the Great. See, Shapur said, I thought I was the Great, but other people, later in history anyway, thought that Constantine was. So Shapur the Great, as some called him, started to get very irritated by the official elevation in the neighboring Byzantium or that was in the works anyway under Constantine, Byzantium. The elevation of Christianity. This disturbed him, and he started to persecute Christians because he also engaged in war with the Romans, as they would be called then. Um, uh, the subjects of Constantine, actually, yes, in the East as well. He started regarding Shapur II, he started regarding his Christian subjects as foreign agents. You see, when a political leader has subjects who, and we know this in various more recent times, right? If you're in a country as an immigrant, in a country that is, for whatever reason, starts to have problems and even war with another nation, then you might, as an immigrant in that country, be suspect. This has happened time and again in history. So actually, Shapur ended up viciously persecuting Christians, and a lot of martyrs were put to death, died martyrs' deaths. I said martyrs died martyrs' deaths. It's not the most felicitous phrase, I know. It's not like Anna complained, right? But I'm looking at her like, stop, criticizing my English when she didn't even say anything. But I have to crack her up a little bit because she's just sitting there all bored. Eat your cake, Anya. Yeah. Look, now I'm bossing her around as usual. So she's starting to eat her cake. So, listen, everybody. Are you enjoying this story, or has everybody left me? So what happened was, long story short, one second, maybe I have some other things to tell you about this. I think I told you most of the stuff. So when he persecuted these Christians, he actually was very favorably inclined, as was his predecessor, one of his predecessors, Shapur I, towards Jews, and had an interest in Judaism. But anyway, so he, viciously persecuted Christians. These holy martyrs that we celebrate today on the new calendar, not on the older one, Akindinos, Pigasius, Aphthonius, Elpidiphoros are, I know the names are a mouthful, but these are their holy names, and 7,000 with them. They were arrested. They were actually courtiers or members of the court of this king, Shapur II. And first they were secret Christians, but they were found out, they were reported when he really revved up the persecutions against Christians. These were actually, like I said, members of his imperial court. So there were a lot of people jealous of them. So when people are jealous of as people often are, there's a lot of, I think, political movements in our day also, but, think of various forms of socialism or Marxism, very much fueled entire movements. I know I'm mixing up all sorts of topics here, but I think fueled by jealousy a lot. People say, I want to say that the betrayal of certain other courtiers, of these secret Christian courtiers, to this emperor, that led to their arrest, torture, and eventually to them being put to death. This was caused by jealousy. Okay, this is why people seek the downfall sometimes of the powerful and successful, and I don't think we always call things what they are, and instead we turn into some kind of a virtue, supposedly egalitarian concerns, but things that are simply the desire to, not always, I'm not even interested so much in the political aspects of this or socioeconomic, but I'm interested in the spiritual things behind this sometimes, of wanting the downfall of the powerful. So when they were marched to their place of execution after they were tortured, the most prominent of these martyrs. I will repeat their names because I should have printed them out, but I didn't for you. But you can look them up. Like I said, New Calendar people, you are celebrating the memory of these holy martyrs today. Akindinos, Pegasios, Afinodoros, and Elpidiphoros, and Aphthonios. I want to say that when they were marched to their place of execution, a whole crowd of Christians gathered to accompany them. So there was this procession that developed along the streets, and on the orders of Shapur II, he ordered the soldiers to massacre these people. So the soldiers were massacring in 7,000, in addition to the prominent martyrs were executed and died martyrs' deaths on that day. All right, so that's the story of these holy martyrs. I'm going to have to wrap this up, right? I've been rambling on, have I? Dobry wieczór, says Cecilia. Cecilia. Do you know this? Is this a song, or did I just make that up? See, I actually think that I just made that up. Is that disturbing? John Laodicean, Martyrs, D. Martyrs, Death is Kanye's new album. Oh, well, Kanye never ceases to surprise, does he? No, he does not. He's a gift that keeps on giving. Thank you, John Laodicean. Marcy is commenting on the headpiece of Shapur II. Well, it is quite something, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what? Is it that far a cry from a mitre? I don't know if we should start a segment on clergy headpieces.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting topic, right? This particular historical figure, a vicious persecutor of Christians, actually did fancy himself the brother of the sun and the moon. So to have something planet-like on his head makes a lot of sense. But what came first, that or him thinking that he was related to either a sun? I know you're going to say, sister, the sun and the moon aren't planets, but the ancients thought that they were planets. We have the 7 days of the week named after what they thought were the 7 planets. But you guys know this if you're subscribed to our popular audio podcast. If you're not subscribed, do you realize that everyone else is? Do you want to be left out in the cold like that? Like you're the only one not subscribed? Well, it doesn't have to be that way, my friend. Out there, you know who you are. Subscribe. Plus, you want your name in the magic pump. Did I say magic pumpkin? No, it's very different from a magic pumpkin. It's a prayer pumpkin. Do not confuse your pumpkins, my friends. Magic pumpkins are something very different. All right? Everybody knows that. So get your pumpkins straight is what I'm saying. That's what you want to do. Let's see who else is with us. Manole Ionescu, or Manol, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. The Romanian Orthodox Church has also this Saturday the commemoration of souls. Okay, so I think there is a sphere of, of sort of related Orthodox traditions, and I don't know actually the history of when that entered the Romanian tradition. So if I'm being presumptuous saying that it all came from the Grand Prince Dimitri Donskoi to the rest of you people, perhaps I might stand corrected if you correct me. Who else?
Oh, they have new calendar. Maybe it's also...
They do have the new calendar. Well, if you're new calendar, then I really don't know why you would have the commemoration this Saturday, because this actually follows the memory of Saint Demetrius that was already on the 26th, in the past. So our rule in the Russian church is to have it the preceding Saturday. Anyway, I sure hope, says Marcy, this is my year to subscribe. The pumpkin may have been eaten by then. Marcy, of course you need to subscribe. It's $5, my friend. Just do it. Hashtag just do it. We miss you over there. Cherry Chapman. Talented pumpkin carvers, she says. Thank you, Cherry. I'm glad somebody finally noticed. Our hearts longing, thoughts and love for our cherished departed ones brings their souls near us, says Cherry. Indeed. David Lightman says, good Saturday morning, all, from Louisville, Kentucky, USA. Hi, David.
Hi.
Nightingale 1962, as ever, hello to you, my friend, from the Breakfast Club soundtrack, she says, which was what? Was it something that I just sang?
It was this song, Don't Forget.
Oh, right, Don't You Forget About Me. Hermit's Rule Hard is the one that says, he says that has made his afternoon, or her. I don't know if Hermit's Rule is a she or a he. Love you, sister, and zillions, and our gorgeous new assistant. Are you our gorgeous new assistant? I think she is. I think so. I think she's the only gorgeous. Of all my gorgeous assistants, she is the one you see today. You know what? I haven't tried this that Anna brought over. See, my little cake that Anna brought over today, we're commemorating Father Taft, by the way.
Yes.
Do you people commemorate the dead by eating something? Well, we do everything by eating something.
True.
Whether we're commemorating the dead or the living or something else, we eat. This is a chestnut cake of some sort that I think I should say goodbye to everyone rather than just eat. C.R. Harris. Hello, C.R. Harris. Amen, Sister Vassa. I am so thankful to have been able to view on YouTube the Byzantine funeral liturgy of the late Father Taft. Your reading of the New Testament epistle, Pericope, was very moving, Sister Vassa. All right, C.R. Harris, so you saw that. Yeah, well, I actually found it very difficult to read that epistle because I was a little bit of a mess that day. I don't know. It was hard, I have to say. You know, but I mean, I wasn't sad for Father Taft. Not at all, you know. I mean, he had a tough time the last while of his life. But, you know, it wasn't someone to complain. But for him, who had always been very much in control and the wisest, the one that was hands-on, always knew what to say, what to do, and this encyclopedia of knowledge, you know. For him to have been so helpless, you know, in his old age, not helpless, but just, you know, in need of help with everything, and then he couldn't talk. You know, this is the experience of old age that God sends to everyone, and it was, you know, he had done more than his part, I would say. I don't want to say more than his part, but he had been of so much service to people that it was time, you know, for him to go. I can show you, I do have some of my favorite pictures of him. This one, when I was working in the Orientale library, I would sit right in front of him. This is what I would see when I would look behind my shoulder, was Taft sitting there like a soldier, you know, the Jesuit soldier of the church that he was, every day. And that's what he taught his students to do. Come every day, you sit from 8 a.m. when the library opened, 6 p.m. it closed. Then it was time to, you know, have supper, as he called it. Drink some vino, as he said, and then, you know, say your prayers, go to sleep, and then you're up in the morning early for your prayers. Liturgy he would celebrate every day. Then he would head for breakfast. Then he would read the New York Times. Then it was the library, lunch, and so forth. A nap, and every day, strict, you know, discipline. Anyway, that's a few more words about Father Taft. And I am looking whose comments I missed. I'm going through the comments backwards, so this might be confusing for people. Paula Nufri says, memory eternal to Father Taft. Hiro Kame is with us from Japan. Hello, Hiro. I love the hymn for memory, he says. from Memory Eternal, probably. There's some kind of a gnat flying around. In case you guys thought I was waving at my pumpkin, you'll think she's lost her mind finally. I'm not doing that. There was a gnat. There was a gnat. Marcy, wait, she's referring to... Amy S. is with us. Love how the pumpkin shows Ora, O-R-A.
No, it was
Does it?
not anymore. I think like this.
Oh, because of Deborah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Deborah's name. Amy's with us. You know that Amy sent us some fan art for Anna's participation in the show. I want to show that picture.
Who sent? Who sent it?
You know when Amy drew a picture of us?
Amy, that was Amy. Yes, I know.
So Amy's here. See, I have a picture of it here that I forgot to show her.
Thank you, Amy.
See, Amy likes to sketch in her notebook, and it's too small here to see what Amy wrote on the picture. But anybody, if anyone's interested, you could, later pause the video and check out what she wrote. But Amy makes these sketches. Do you see? That's me on one side, and then there's Anna on the other side. I think she gets pretty close to the likeness, right?
Yes.
You could tell it's Anna. Well, you could tell it's me, that's for sure, because of the whole getup. But thanks, Amy. No, I love your drawings. And in the middle, there is a saint that we were talking about. Right now, I'm sorry, I can't see. The picture's too small for me right now. LMDD is with us. Say hello, LMDD.
Hello, LMDD.
It's good to see you, LMDD. Deanna, we have said good morning to you, I believe. It's good to have you with us. Phil Harwell. You know that we sent you the mug, Phil Harwell, last week, right? So I hope it reaches you sometime soon. Phil Harwell won a mug.
Hi, Phil.
Theodore Gatanis. Good morning, Theodore. He's telling us that we are live. Okay, everybody, I'm sorry if I missed any comments. It's lovely to see you, and we will see you next week. Next week, I have an interview with a famous professor of Notre Dame University, the great Maxwell Johnson. He has contributed a lot. He is Lutheran himself and has contributed a lot to the study of the sources of early Christian liturgy. And there are, several of my friends who became liturgiologists have greatly benefited or directly studied under Max Johnson. So I'll be interviewing him during the week. I will pre-record that and then have that for you next Saturday. All right. So in conclusion, do not forget, everybody. Also, I should mention two more things. One is that I'm going to be in Boston, Massachusetts, November 29th, 30th, and 2 days after that. You could check my speaking schedule as to where I will be speaking in Boston. Then I'll go visit my folks in New York because my dad is having a 50-year celebration of his priesthood. That's number one. So I'll be end of November, beginning of December in Boston and New York. And this is the second thing I want to tell you, that my book of daily reflections, usually every year for 2 years now, actually, right before Christmas, I find that people start ordering the book from us. And if those of you who are in Canada or the United States are interested in getting a book of daily reflections, everybody, before Christmas, it's going to be too late to order if you order, say, in December. It's not going to get to you. We ship it from Vienna, Austria. That's why I want to remind you, if you are interested, order the book now. Okay? It's already November, but if you order now, you might get this book in time. Well, you will get it in time for Christmas if you order now. All right? We do have some in stock still. It's already in its third printing, so a lot of you will have the book already. Anyway, I'm throwing that in. Go to our gift shop at our website. I have to remove Amy's picture. Thank you, Amy, for the picture once again.
Thank you.
The Patreon link. Okay, the Patreon link I'm removing. That's for the audio podcast, but this is where you'll find the gift shop if you want this book. Okay? Okay. So have a blessed rest of your weekend. And Anna, would you like to say at least one word? Because I haven't let you say anything.
And have a good weekend, dear Zillions.
We're going to go, we're planning to go and look at glasses, right? For you.
Yeah, that's
we
our
have
plan.
another little excursion planned. Anna wants a second opinion on getting new glasses.
Yeah, that's a difficult decision.
Glasses are sort of a pain, right? All right, everybody. That's it for us. Take care, everybody. And I'm saying goodbye. Who else? Look, oh my goodness, we have a lot of comments. Elder Millennial, we didn't see. And Lester San Jose. Hello, Lester. Alexandra is with us. I didn't notice Alexandra. Hi, Alexandra. Cook with Catalina. Good morning, Cook with Catalina. And related to, any relation to Cook without Catalina? No? Do you know Cook with Catalina?
No.
Well, welcome, Cook with Catalina, if we've already spoken with you before. Amy S. is blushing. She says, what is Elder Millennial saying? We are leaving. We are avoiding closure, I suppose, as well. Elder Millennial is saying, Western Orthodox commemorate both November 1st and 2nd because the last Syrian Pope basically merged saints and souls so as to make feeding pilgrims easier. Okay, we didn't know that. Are you both getting new glasses? David Lightman is asking. No, only Anna is. Mine are relatively new.
But who knows?
Who knows? Now I'm going to be all insecure. I'm going to be like, Anna, David Lightman is hinting that I need new glasses. All right, David Lightman. I'll just have to live with that. Bye, Amy. Amy's saying ta-ta. We're going to figure out how to shut this off, and then we'll leave. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Lovely to chat with you. All right, let's turn this off. А где выключается это?
Там
По-моему,
не прошлое.
здесь.
Мне кажется,
А,
прошлое.
да.
В конце там было стоп-стриминг.
Я знаю, но где это прошлое? А, да, но это другая программа.